hours, 3 hours of watching these great guys marching down Fifth Avenue. It never rained. And then I thought to myself, global warming, they're telling us what's going to happen in 250 years to our planet, but they can't tell us it's going to rain 3 hours before the event. In 250 years from now, the planet's going to burn up or freeze up. And you know, remember when they said, they called it global warming, then global cooling. They had all different things. Now they just changed it to climate change, because climate change you can't miss. How's it doing? Climate change every time. If it's cold, if it's hot, if it's rainy, if it's sunny, if it's too crazy, we have climate change. But think of it. They're telling you what's going to happen in 100 years. The oceans are going to rise 1/4 of an inch and everyone's going to be wiped out. No, you're going to have more oceanfront property if that happens. It's okay. Not the worst. But we just celebrated the 250th anniversary of the Army at Fort Bragg.
Dear Democrats, if you've watched this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write your thoughts in the comments.
You know, they changed the name, and we changed it back to Fort Bragg. The people of North Carolina came up, they said, sir, we want to really have the name of Fort Bragg back. Everybody was saying that. They kept calling it Fort Bragg. I changed it back. You know, these radical left lunatics changed the name of Fort Bragg. So we won World War II. We won World War I. We won other wars. We won everything from Fort Bragg and other places that we were also changing many of them back. And then we decided to change the name now. I tell people, you know, and one of the great economists from the Wharton School of Finance, where I happened to go, he apologized. He says, you know, I think Trump outsmarted us all. And yesterday was the poll, and out of 77 economists, I came in second. I want to find the guy that came in first. Somebody came in first. Can you believe it? But we said what was going to happen, and it's happening. And I'll tell you what, we had the greatest economy in the history of my first term. This is going to blow it away. You watch. This is going to blow it away.
But the inability to speak,
and very importantly for Iowa, this bill rescues
really got
over
pretty
2 million
strange
family
with two
farms
clips I
from
want
the
to play back
so-called
to back
estate
right
tax
here.
or the death tax. In other words, before Trump, you were losing farms to the banks. Before Trump, you were losing the farms like nobody's ever seen before. You love your children. You don't feel so well. You pass away. You leave everything to your children, and they have to pay a big estate tax, or a death tax, as we call it, and they couldn't do it. They go out and borrow money, and all of a sudden the bank is foreclosing on the farm. Not going to happen. You have no more estate tax. You have no more death tax to pay. But if you love them, or if you love somebody that you're leaving it to, think of that. No death tax, no estate tax, no going to the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people. Remember Biden had always used to say, it's an existential threat. He loves the word existential. It's an existential threat. What is? I don't know, climate change. Remember that? Always, that's dangerous too, because they're going to take that thing, and they're going to say, he couldn't say existential. So you can't imitate people either. I want to thank Republican congressmen and women, because what they did is incredible last night. And the Senate, the Republican Senate, we got, not with all of the things we did with the tax cuts and rebuilding our military, not one Democrat voted for us. And I think we use it in the campaign that's coming up, the midterms, because we got to beat them. But all of the things that we've given, and they wouldn't vote only because they hate Trump. But I hate them too, you know that? So it's sort of, I really do, I hate them. I cannot stand them because I really believe they hate our country. You want to know the truth? 4 or 5 years ago, I mean, we have a lot of people that they allowed into the country that are serious criminals. A lot of them are on their way out, however. Iran's nuclear enrichment has been obliterated. Remember when CNN said, it wasn't obliterated. It was maybe damaged or damaged badly, but obliterated is too strong a word. No, it was obliterated. That's now been proven. The Atomic Energy Commissions, everything that's been obliterated. And they were trying to demean me by saying that, but they were really demeaning those great pilots and people and mechanics that got those planes over there and were able to shoot from high up in the air going very, very fast with potentially a lot of things being shot at them and hit every single one, every single. They're trying to demean me, but to me they were demeaning them. And they got out of the plane and they said, what the hell? We hit every single target. They know better than anybody. But now that's been proven. It's CNN fake news and scammers that work for them. Scam writers that work for them. But we understand it and we fight it back. And a lot of people say, sir, don't criticize it because they're beneath you. No, they're not beneath me. Nobody's beneath. You got to put it, otherwise people don't understand. If you don't say something about it, you got to say it. These people did one of the greatest military hits and maneuvers in the history of our country, and I want them to be appreciated for it. And we reject government discrimination and so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates. They're just about washed out the window, actually. They're just about over with. We're just about finished. In this country, we believe in hard work and we believe in merit. And by the way, we're allowed to have merit. We're now back to being a merit-based system. We had a decision in the United States Supreme Court. Our country is now a country based on merit. We oppose censorship, price controls, open borders, and sex changes for children.
If you've watched the video up to this point, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write your thoughts in the comments.
This guy is still promoting himself as one of the greatest economists, but honestly, is it that easy to make fun of people's intelligence? The guy throws a tantrum when no one comes to his birthday party, and then he goes on about global warming and stuff. And if you ask him, he says, I'm a working graduate, at least construct your sentences properly, brother. And then he suddenly starts talking about climate change. The world will burn in 250 years. His brother. Forget about the world in 50 years. You can't even predict what will happen in 3 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours. You don't even know if it's going to rain. But Fox News is praising him, so he immediately thinks he's Einstein. The next day, so I ask you, why isn't mainstream media talking about all this nonsense? Seriously, why are they staying silent? Write your comments. I want to see who's feeding what to whom. But that's not enough. Of course, the pudding brain couldn't resist jumping on the Fort Bragg story. You know, for years black people were forced to fight like slaves, and the barracks named after racist generals were finally renamed. What did Trump do? He quietly reversed it. The people wanted it. He says, does the people of North Carolina really say, please bring Fort Bragg back, morning and night? No, what's his issue? History, symbols, memories, none of that matters to him. His only concern is small shows that will be named after him. Remember when this guy became president, we all thought he'd install gold faucet in the White House, and even that's being censored by the media. Not a single soul is asking, has this guy lost his mind? Honestly, no one cares except Lawrence Donald. So what are we going to do? Are we going to keep quiet? No way. Here, the one